Good afternoon, class. This is going to be the mini lecture on Minoan glacial period. This is prior to and concurrent with the Mycenaeans. Okay, they were destroyed before the Mycenaeans got destroyed. Some kind of earthquake, tsunami, tidal wave, something happened on Crete where they lived. They would be living on the entire island of Crete, spread throughout. And as you can see, the Hittites would be over kind of here. Volusa's Troy, this is Greece, this is Mycenae. That's what's happening at the same time. Some stuff over in the Levant, Egypt, was also a thing. And they would be spread out over this entire island. These are some of their most important sites. And here's a list of things that are important terms from Mycenaean civilization. So take a second to pause the video and copy these down, or take a screenshot of the video and then copy it down into notes. But moving on, so here's a essentially sarcophagus called a Larnax. This is what they bury people in. And if you look closely, there are two symbols that are very key to Minoan culture. And here they are. If you look down right in this corner, this is where they are. And here's a close-up. And this is the double axe and the horns of consecration. So a couple of the terms on the list. These are horns of consecration. These would appear on a large structure, large stone structure, palace. And we'll get to those. Here's the double-bladed axe, ceremonial, gold or gold-plated. Obviously, this would be buried in a tomb. And here we have some figurines. These could be essentially offerings found at a place sacred to the gods, but were buried. Decorations, so you'll see some symbols that are important to the Minoans, central to their culture. So right here, bull, another bull, down here a bull, over here some horns of consecration, another bull. Over on the left side here, there's a bunch of pictures of women, or depictions of women, and on the right, men. And this is called a Rhyton. Okay, this is used for offerings for the gods. So you'd put wine in here. It's a vessel that can be used for holding liquid. But I don't know about drinking, but definitely this is the super nice version. You will see crappy versions of this, like this. So again, symbol, what's important here is the symbol stays the same throughout. Okay, bull. Up here, very, very nice. Over here, kind of crappy. But again, symbol stays the same. It's central to the culture. Anyone can make offerings to the gods. Anyone can make offerings to the gods. Rich people make offerings. Poor people make, well, this is semi-rich person makes offerings. Poor people, maybe something more like, you know, one of these things in the middle, or even smaller vessel. Okay. Now this is fresco. This is, you can call this painting if you want, but it's not quite painting. It's a wet plaster on wall, and you directly insert the pigment into the plaster, almost like a tattoo for a wall. And it's incredibly durable. It chemically bonds together as it dries. You have to work while it's wet. It dries, it chemically bonds. And these things are incredibly durable. They survive the Pompeii eruption. We see some from Rome, from there. We get a lot of fresco, and it's really nice. And the colors stay nice. Not like marble statue where the colors, you know, wipe off after a long time. These colors stay, and they stay good. Okay, so here we see, looks like small, very small animal with horns being presented to someone, possibly a priest. Over on the left, we see double-bladed axes. Okay, so another central thing to the culture, central image. Now, switching gears a tiny bit, here we see something going on. So men are in red, women are in white. Now, what do we see happening? Look at this space. So this is definitely architectural space. We see a wall here, right? Stone wall, nicely cut stones. Trees, right? Women in the audience, men in an audience. I think it's safe to say that these people are watching something, and that something is over here. And this space is rectilinear. Remember, straight lines. So it'd probably continue like this. A little slanted on this side, but don't worry about that. Again, rectilinear. Keep that in mind. Wall, massive people, something going on. I think it's safe to say that these are spectators spectating some sort of competition, event, dance perhaps. We can reconstruct it pretty well. Notice men and women in the audience. Who gets preferred seating? Look at that. It's women sitting down. Interesting. Could it be sport? Think about that. Now here's another fresco. And we'll look at this closer up in a second, but look at what we see here. We see more rectilinear space, right? More fairly rectilinear space up here. Women in white, men in red. Women seem to have much more detail. And now looking closer, we see, what are these? Horns of consecration. Interesting. So we know that we have a venue for space now, and that something gets watched in it and around it. Now we see another one. This is interesting. See this animal in the middle? You can safe to assume that that's a bull, of course. We see a woman here, man here. Now this animal, it's not just a bull. If you think about the size of a regular bull that you know, or cow, think about that, and then think about like a bison. The difference between a bull and a bison, and which one's bigger. This would be called an aurochs. So the size here relative to the people does not need to be exaggerated. This is actually a very large animal. Okay, an aurochs is now extinct, but it was once fairly common until people killed them all. But bigger than a bull, tougher than a bull, meaner than a bull. You get the idea. And basically the game here is to grab the horns as it charges at you, vault yourself up, do a sort of backflip or acrobatic move over the horse, or pommel horse your way over the bull. You can see how this would require a tremendous amount of strength, agility, skill, and speed, perhaps. Now, if this was televised, I would probably watch it, but now we start to see Minoan sport. Safe to assume that this is sport. Now, think about, sorry, before you do that, just look here. We see more bull imagery. Okay, this isn't quite as good quality. A lot of it was fragmentary. We can see the pieces over here, and people put them in based on very similar images on other frescoes. Okay, but this gives you a nice picture of the entire process, right? Over here you have a bull, here you have a bull, and people are in various stages of leaping over these things. So these guys are in about the same stage. Man in red, looks like woman perhaps, if that's really is white. So women could participate, looks like. And oh, this guy didn't do as well, or maybe he's doing better. He's kind of underneath here. But as you can see, there were multiple different ways of doing this. It was not one event where you have one prescribed way of doing it. There's definitely some sort of skill and style and perhaps judging, okay, in competition, right? Not just doing it in one way, but doing it in many different ways, doing it in your own style, kind of like figure skating or something like that we have today. Of course, more dangerous. You have to be absolutely fearless to do this. Going up against a hungry, angry, charging aurochs. And over here you have the boxer Rhyton. We'll probably get to this one in class, but this one, it's called the boxer Rhyton because, of course, most of it is boxing, but not all of it. We see a bull down here, okay, on the middle. But then we see boxers, and on this one we see more boxing, but then bull leaping, but then it looks like boxing again. See how that goes? So maybe there's 3 boxing, but bull leaping interspersed. And then this is kind of a reconstruction of what the whole thing would have looked like if it were spread out all flat. You can see it because obviously we don't have a copy to give you to hold in your hand. So here it is. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the levels, and these go around in a circle and a cone. And again, this is a Rhyton. Okay, so here we see more imagery of bull leaping on a coin, figurines especially, and stuff that we'll get to in class. Thank you for your time, and we'll have the quiz on this when you guys come in class.